by Amy Kerah, My China Story.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode on my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Amy Kerah, although my YouTube channel is still kind of new, so I'm also new in the YouTube field. My name is Amy Kerah, and on today's episode, it's going to be about me. So for someone who is curious, I can't say I'm that curious, but I'm curious enough. I always ask people about their China story. For context, I'm currently in China. I've been in China for about 7 to 8 months now. And anyone that I meet that is not Chinese, I tend to ask them what's their Chinese story. And I'm planning to have a lot of those videos on my YouTube channel. And I thought, before having their videos on my channel, what if I have mine? So today's episode is going to be my China story. So I hope I get to entertain you. If not entertain you, maybe you get educated. Welcome, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So let us start my China story. And my China story starts. Okay, let me explain why I call this my China story. So when you want to do something about going to a new place, like for instance, now we're talking about China, it's your China story because you just did decide on one day that you want to go to China and went on the next day. It had to be a process because it's a place where you have to learn the language, and yeah, it's kind of a lot because most people from China do not know English. Like, there are people who know English, but it's easy to find people who know English. And even the ones that know English still prefer speaking Chinese because they love their language that much. So I'm calling this my China story because for me, I came to China in 2024, but my China story started way before 2024. So I remember in 2018, my sister, my elder sister, was in campus by then. And then she came home and said, I want to start Chinese. And I remember thinking, I always think or say that I believe my sister is one person who always does something that is out of the ordinary, and she always succeeds. I know she tells me that's too much pressure, but I believe in her that much because I've seen her do things that she said she would, or something that most people said she wouldn't do, but she succeeded. So she came home one day from holiday and she was like, I think I'm going to start Chinese. And in my head, I don't remember telling her that, but I was like, you know what? I know she's going to do it. She said she's going to do it. She's thinking of doing it. Probably she's already started doing it. And then after that, the next time she came home, she said, I have a scholarship and I'm going to China for 6 months. And we were all happy for her because it was just like a joke. She said she's going to start Chinese and now she's going to China for 6 months. And I remember by then, it was in 2018. And at the time, I was in high school. And then I remember going to school and I was just like, my sister is leaving, going to China, which is kind of weird to think about this, which means I will also be going to China. I know we have different stories and siblings have different lives, but then in my head, I was just thinking, my sister is going to China, I'm also going to China. I don't know how, I don't know how I'll survive. I didn't even think I wanted to learn the language then, but I was just like, you know what? I think I'll be going to China. And everyone else who met me at that time knew my sister is in China. And one day I will be going to China too, because I was so proud of my sister that much that I told almost everyone that my sister is in China. I still talk about her that way to everyone else I meet. Like, everyone knows I have a sister who is just amazing and fluent in Chinese. I'm sorry, I know I'm talking too much about you, but yeah. You know I love you. This story is about me though, but still, you're part of it. And then she came back in 2019. And then at the time when she came back, she went back to Confucius Institute, which is in Nairobi, in Kenya. And then I think she didn't say anything about it, but then she came back home and she was like, I'm going back to China and now I'm going back for 4 years. And I was just like, okay, so it's this easy. She just went for 6 months and now she's going back again for 4 years. that's crazy. But then I was just like, you know what? She got this. She is going to do it. And then she went in 2019. And at the time, I was finishing high school, and she suggested to my parents that instead of me going to college campus and do something, maybe I should start Chinese. But then my parents were like, you can't go to China before you have like a basic foundation of something to do in campus, like a course, a major, or something. And then I was just like, okay, fine, let me do this. And then after that, I'll go to China. So I was just so happy, like, I'm doing this and then I'm going to China. By that time, I didn't know I have to learn the language. Like, I knew, but I didn't take a big deal out of it. Like, I just knew it's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. So after 2019, I joined college campus, and then I started doing a different major. And then after that, my sister added me to the groups of the school that she was in back at home. And then I started learning Chinese then. But then at the time, I felt like it was too much because I had classes and then I had the online classes for the Chinese. And then I dropped. Sadly, I dropped from the classes. I stopped joining the online classes, and just like that, I didn't learn Chinese then. And then I stopped. And then after I finished my course that I was doing, the major, I had nothing to do because I was looking for jobs, internships, and stuff like that. But then in my country, in Kenya, it's the job opportunities are kind of going, they're getting less and less. So most of the times I was just at home. And then my sister was just like, what are you doing back at home now? Like, do you have anything to do? And I was just like, I'm currently looking for jobs and stuff like that. But the options that I have are not, like, it's very hard to get a job. And then she suggested, you know what, why don't you just come to China and maybe just learn Chinese? And I was just like, that's also an option. I never thought I wanted to come to China. Like, now at the time she was asking me that, I was just like, but do I really want to go to China? But then again, I was just like, if I get to go to China, at least I have something to do, because currently at the time I was just at home looking for jobs and just being at home. And then after that, I started my passport applications and visa applications. And then it took almost a year to get my passport. And then after that, the visa took like a week. And then shortly, my sister already booked my flight. And then my parents helped me to do all those other things. They paid for everything else that I needed. And my sister also helped a lot. She really helped a lot. And then I got to come to China. And then when I got to China, just as the story goes, I hope now you know, I do not know any Chinese except from saying, hello, how are you? How are you doing? My name is. Just that. I get to come to China. I'm coming to China alone, and the plane that I took from Kenya to here, I was the only person who was not Chinese. And then there were other people who were not Chinese, like one person was from Kenya, another person was from Uganda. But the plane that I came with was big, and I didn't see them until the last part. The first person that I saw was at Changsha, and the next person I saw at Guangzhou. For context, at Changsha, I was taking like a stopover, the layover, the 1 hour wait to then take the next flight. The person from Kenya was taking another flight to a different place, so I didn't get to talk to them. The next person that I met in Changsha, I talked to her in like 10 minutes because we were looking for a gate to the next flight. She was going to a different place, I was going to a different place. So after that, I was back again with Chinese people who I did not know how to talk to. And it was a struggle at the time because I think I'll just have a story on my YouTube channel about my travel. It was a struggle, but then I managed to come to China. And then I got to China in August last year. And then I started being with my sister, learning Chinese and stuff like that. And I can say my China story is not as beautiful as other stories that I'm going to be uploading on my channel, but I hope mine gets to inspire you and tell you more about experiencing. One lesson that I've learned from my China story is if you ever have a wildest dream, one thing that you always wanted to do, I think the only option is do it. Because if you don't do it, there's always something in your head that's going to tell you, I wish I did it. And there's one thing that I always tell myself and my friends that I'd rather be saying one day it's better that I did it than saying I wish I did it. Because can you imagine the things that you said you won't do and then you don't do them? And then one day looking back, you're just like, I really had nothing else to do. Because now looking back, I'm just like, if I kept on learning Chinese and stuff like that, I would have been better. Like now my Chinese level is like HSK 2 to 3, not sure, but I can communicate, I can talk to people, but then I can understand conversations bits by bits. But sometimes I don't get anything at all. But then it's getting better with practice. So if you're someone who is from Africa, everywhere else in the world who is not Chinese but wants to come to China, you can start small. I know people say Chinese is hard and stuff like that. It is. It has its struggles and stuff like that. But it's a learning process. The more you learn, the more better you become. And anyone else who has something that they're planning to do, just do it. Just take the littlest steps every day, because you never know when you get to reach that goal. Because one day you'll be looking back and then you'll be like, wow, I did it. And yeah, thank you for listening and watching. And I hope more China stories that I'm going to upload will inspire you to do things that you always want to do. And I hope you have an amazing time in accomplishing the things that you say you have to do. Also, 2025 is the year of success. I hope you prosper in anything that you want to do. I hope you manage to even take the first step of anything that you want to do. And all the best. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming back to my videos. And I hope you subscribe and I hope you stay. Also, I hope I educated you or encouraged you to do anything. Bye-bye.